Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Okay, let
hear
me share my
you.
screen.
Okay, we are ready to get going here, Alan. We've got people joining us, so
Great, terrific.
hang on just a minute. We're just the numbers keep going up, so we'll get started in just a second.
Yeah, I will be dropping off about 9:30ish, 9:20ish, but I'll be on my phone.
Okay. All right, we still have more people joining us.
Can you see the screen okay?
Yep.
Looks good.
Looks good. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am Stephanie Wedeling. I'm the PIO for the department. We are happy to have our DTS all hands meeting, our first one with Alan Fuller, CIO. First of all, I just want to mention something real quick. Thank you to everyone who donated sticks of deodorant or money to purchase deodorant for the service project that is happening on Friday. We met our goal, and that was a real quick turnaround time. So thank you so much for being so generous. Throughout this session, if you have questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A. The Q&A is a little bit easier for us to track what's coming in and what we've answered. So either one is fine though. We're happy to hear anything you have. So I am happy to introduce our CIO, Alan Fuller. For those of you who have not met him, here he is. And I'm just gonna let you take it away, Alan. Thanks.
Okay, terrific. Thanks, Steph. Really appreciate it. All right, I've been a couple of months already with DTS, and I know I did a quick introduction before when we did the building tour of TSOM, but I haven't had a chance really to introduce myself fully and to get to know many of you better. So I'm excited about today. I have a number of things I want to talk through in terms of our priorities, our goals, our culture, some organizational changes, and a few other topics. So let me jump right in. Steph, can you just confirm that you're seeing the introducing Alan Fuller slide? Okay, terrific. So first of all, just a little bit about me. I was raised on a dairy farm in Southeast Idaho, a little town called Moreland. If any of you have heard of that, it's outside of Blackfoot. I had a great time growing up on the farm. I'm from a large family. We had 11 children. I'm one of 11 children, 10 boys and 1 girl. And we had a lot of room to run, and we did a lot of hard work. And I like to say we had everything that money cannot buy. And that was not a lot of money, but we had a lot of love. I ended up going to BYU, and where I got an undergrad in economics and math. And then I worked at a couple of places for an airline and for the NASDAQ stock market. And then I ultimately did an MBA. I completed my MBA at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton Business School. And about my MBA program, when I tell people I went to the University of Pennsylvania, they say, "Oh, that's the one with the great football team." I was like, no, that's Penn State. This is the University of Pennsylvania. It's a little bit different. After my MBA program, I was recruited to a software company in the Bay Area called Siebel Systems, and I moved out to San Mateo, California. I went to work for Siebel Systems, and the year I was hired at Siebel hired 121 MBAs from a variety of the top MBA programs. And out of the 121 hired, there was one that went into the IT organization, and that was me. So it was kind of a unique place for an MBA to go, but it worked out really well for me. I was given a lot of experience and a lot of good projects and products to work on, and I really enjoyed my time there. So I was in the Siebel IT organization for about 5 years, and then about at the same time, in approximately 2005, Oracle acquired Siebel, and just a little bit before the acquisition completed, I moved from the IT organization to the product management organization. And then I was 7 years in Oracle's product management organization, moving through a variety of different roles from doing what, sort of core product leadership, doing working on, design, architecting products, and to also doing outbound marketing and a variety of other roles. And in that role, I got a lot of great experience and helped. I was focused on Oracle's business intelligence products, and we helped to grow the revenue of those products significantly in my 7 years there. So that was a great experience. But after 7 years in product management, ironically, I really felt the need to get my hands on the product more. And so I made another move internally at Oracle and moved from the product management team back to an IT organization known internally at Oracle as the Oracle Application Laboratory, or Application Labs. And the reason we were called a lab was because we were housed in the products organization. But so we did all the IT functions. We supported all the enterprise solutions that ran Oracle internally, but we were also part of the product team and expected to implement products and grow and develop new products and add enhancements to existing products. So we really were a lab in that sense. And I love that dual role aspect of being having both an IT function and a product function. And my role there was primarily in the business intelligence and data warehousing space. I helped to design and build Oracle's global corporate data warehouse, and I helped to deploy a number of business intelligence solutions, primarily to Oracle's global sales organization, which was at Oracle about 35,000 people, but also to the marketing division, the alliances and channels, a number of other internal groups. So I got a broad experience. So in my 21 years at Oracle, I was about 2/3 in an IT role and 1/3 in a product development role. Most of that very focused on data and analytics and business intelligence. I have 7 kids, 4 girls and 3 boys, and I have 2 grandchildren. My wife and I live in Lehigh. And as far as personal hobbies, I love getting in the outdoors. I love camping. I love hiking. I love canoeing and fishing. And then closer to home, I love gardening. You could ask me sometime about grapes, which is one of my passions, is growing grapes. And I like to make grape juice. And I also really enjoy music. I like to play the guitar and sing, and all my family is musical, so we all play some instruments, and we like to get together and have jam sessions and sing and that sort of thing. So good fun stuff. Let's see, enough about me. Let me move on. I want to talk a little bit about DTS culture and what I want it to be. So first of all, when I met with Governor Cox, and every time I've met with him since, he frequently brings up the topic of innovation. And innovation is very important to me. And I want us as an organization to be innovative. But what does it mean to be innovative? I want to break it down to 3 particular, 3 subcomponents of innovation. And those are curiosity, flexibility, and speed. We'll talk more about these going forward, but I just want to introduce them now. So when we think about innovation, first of all, let's start with curiosity. Curiosity is looking around and saying, how can we do something better? How can we do something new? How can we add value? It's having that bit of curiosity to dig into something a little further, get a better understanding of it, and see how we could apply something. Flexibility, being willing to change, being willing to look at something and say, I want to do something a different way, a better way. And I don't want to hear when we talk about why things are done the way they're done, I don't want to hear because that's the way we've always done it. I'd like to be flexible and think about how can we do things differently, better. And I want it to be not just a technology perspective, but also from a process perspective, from an organizational perspective. I want us to be able to be flexible in change. And, we have a lot of change to go through as we address technical debt, as the agencies change, as organizations change. So we need to be flexible. And finally, speed. There's an old saying that a good idea well executed, actually, I think the quote is violently executed, beats a great idea delayed every time. I hope that we can move quickly as we innovate, being able to deliver something quickly, to come up with ideas quickly. I think the speed is an important part of innovation. So I want us as a culture to be innovative, curiosity, flexibility, and speed. I want us to be a listening organization. I want us to be an organization that when we're working with the agencies, or we're working with either individuals, or as we're working with other organizations, I want us to be listening, understand what their real needs are, understand what their processes are. I think I've sensed that as an organization, we've had a tendency to be a little too much of the technology police, and maybe not quite as much as I'd like to see of how can I help you? And that's, I really want us as an organization to be focused on how can we add value? How can we help? And yes, there are times when we need to put certain guardrails around what an organization is doing, so they don't, have a security problem, or we don't have, mass proliferation of different technologies that we can't support. Of course, there are certain guidelines and guardrails that we need to put in place, but I want us to be a listening organization, and I want us to be an organization that asks, how can we help you? Finally, I want us to be trusted technology partners. I want us to be the organization that the agencies look to help them solve their technical problems. I want us to be the type of technology partners that brings innovation to the table for the groups we work with. I want us to be the type of technology partner that has expertise, that has competence, that can help suggest ways of solving problems and adding value for our partners. And this is a nice segue into a message from Governor Cox that I want to talk about. So when I very first started, actually even before I started with the state, Chief of Staff Pierpont sent me some core principles from Governor Cox. Maybe you've all seen these already, I don't know, but I wanted to read through this one because I want us to internalize this. I want us to think about this. And so I want to read this in its entirety. It's a lot of words, so let me do it anyway. Trust, trust, trust. Our success will be completely determined by the trust the people of Utah have in our administration. I love the concept of trust developed in the most recent Edelman Trust Barometer study. The analysis identified that trust is built on two key drivers: competence and ethical behavior. Every person on our team must internalize this equation. Trust equals competence and ethics, which includes transparency and so much more. The people will only follow us if they trust us, and they will only trust us if we are good at what we do. We hired you because you're competent, but I don't care how competent you are, you must act ethically. That means never putting yourself, ego, money, advancement ahead of the people of Utah. Always choose to be good. I feel like for us in DTS, this should resonate with each of us. We all need to focus on building trust with each other, trust with the agencies we work with, and even trust from the people who we ultimately serve, the people of the state. And, one of the reasons I'm here, one of the big reasons I'm here is I really want to make a difference. I want to make a difference for this group. I want to make a difference for the agencies. I want to make a difference for the state of Utah. And I think it starts with these fundamental principles: trust, competence, and ethics. So I hope all of us can take these core principles from Governor Cox to heart and, think about them, ponder them, live them. Let me talk about some of our priorities and goals, some of my priorities and goals. First of all, system and data security. We live in a dangerous world. Many of you are following what's happening on the East Coast with the Capitol Pipeline. We had there's an issue there where a ransomware attack has taken down a major piece of infrastructure. It's had significant impacts on the price of gasoline. It's had, I think it's scared a lot of people to think that some group outside the US could, take down infrastructure like that in the US. Many of you probably are not aware that this same group, DarkSide, that did this ransomware attack on Capitol Pipeline, also did an attack on the state of Utah systems. And a few weeks ago, we got a call from the Los Angeles Bureau of the FBI, and they let us know that one of our machines was communicating with a known ransomware server. Phil Bates and the cybersecurity team, who, by the way, do a terrific job, jumped into action. The software we had put in place, the anti-malware software, had already identified it as risky and isolated it so that it could phone home, but it couldn't spread on our network. The team was able to quickly isolate the machine that had been infected. They were able to contain the issue. And so, we managed to, one person in the Department of Natural Resources got their machine re-imaged, okay, but they didn't manage to get any data. They didn't manage to hold us for ransom. In short, our defense is held. So that's, great job by the cybersecurity team. But the thing is, this is sort of day in and day out what we deal with, and hopefully all of you are aware of this. We just, as a team, we have to stay focused on system and data security. And I really appreciate Phil Bates and his team, the great work that they're doing, and we all need to support this as a priority. Second, I want DTS to be a top-notch, highly functioning IT organization, and I want us to focus on outcomes. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, if we go out and we build a solution, rolling the solution out in and of itself is not the end goal. The end goal is the solution meeting the needs that it was designed to create? Like, how well are we helping to succeed, that the agencies to succeed in the processes that they need to complete? How well is how well are the systems working for Department of Corrections, for Workforce Services, for Health, for Human Services, for all the agencies out there? We need to focus on outcomes and be an outcome-driven organization. I want to get us on a cadence, a quarterly cadence of looking back at the last quarter and seeing what we accomplished, and looking forward to a plan for one quarter, plan for multiple quarters, and we'll do that by we'll do that in a systemic approach. It'll be agile and it'll be coordinated. We're managing a complex portfolio of projects. I want to manage those in an efficient, effective way. So I want us as an organization to be highly functional, top notch. I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference for the agencies. I want to make a difference for the people of Utah. I hope that each of you are thinking about, how can we make a difference? How are we going to make a difference this day, this week, this month, this quarter? How are we going to make a difference for the people we serve? Looking around, working with the IT directors, particularly led by Jared Jensen in this case, we have completed, and we're still working on it, but let's call it mostly completed, an application inventory. We have over 1,200 applications that are on the list. It's a big number. It's a big number for the state. And a lot of those systems are old, antiquated, perhaps not on an optimal architecture or configuration. One of the priorities and goals I have is to work together with this team to modernize and consolidate these systems, the systems of the state. I do tend to lean more towards buying rather than building. I feel like where there is a commercial off-the-shelf solution that meets our needs really well, it's usually buy is the right choice. As you're all aware, there are many cases unique to government where commercial off-the-shelf software is simply not available. We have to build, there's really no choice. And in those, we will develop outstanding solutions. Okay, I mentioned earlier that I've spent the bulk of my career previously at Oracle doing data analytics and business intelligence. I see great opportunities at the state for better use of data in analytics, better use of data in creating intelligence solutions, turning data into insight, help driving meaningful action, turning data into actionable insight. And in learning, I think that there's a lot of opportunity to take the data that the state has, both for us as DTS, but also for the agencies, particularly for the agencies, to help drive better intelligence. And finally, I want to focus on delivering enterprise solutions. We, as an organization, I think one of the things I've seen in my first couple of months at the state is that we as a team, there are a lot of opportunities for us to organize around enterprise solutions. And I think this will be a big area of focus going forward. And to that end, I'm announcing today some organizational changes that I'll be making for DTS. Okay, so first of all, no real changes in the 4 circles on the left. So Dave will continue to be the Chief Technology Officer, Phil will continue as CISO, Steph will continue as PIO, and Dan will continue as the CFO for the organization. All of those 4 are doing a great job and functioning well. I'm going to divide up the rest of DTS into 3 different groups. The first of those groups is going to be called Enterprise Technology Services, and we'll be hiring a new Chief Operating Officer who will report to me and will manage this group. This group is going to include the hosting group, it'll include the desktop group, it'll include the network group, and it'll take care of email and database. So this will be a large organization, and one of the big tasks that this organization will have is doing the data center move, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on a later slide. But I'm looking forward to a new COO taking the leadership of this team and really helping us in this area. Next, we're going to have a group that is called Agency Services, and all of the IT directors will roll, and their staffs will all roll up to this person. And this will also be a new position that will be reporting to me, and it will be basically, I see the IT directors and their organization as the boots on the ground working with each agency. Many of you have great relationships with the agencies and are in fact the face of DTS with the agencies for most of the services that we provide. In the past, Mike, and I think even the prior CIO to him, had the IT directors reporting directly to them. I don't think that's going to work for me. It's too many direct reports, and I don't think I can give them the attention that they need. I think it's better to have a single person focusing on them and focusing on the IT directors and their teams. And so I'm going to bring in a deputy who will be reporting to me, and all the IT directors and their staffs will report to this person. Finally, we're going to have an enterprise product team, and this will be led by John Angus, or Jangus, as this slide refers to him as. And I appreciate that this is not an entirely new concept for the organization, but this was called out in the transition docs. So many of you are aware, there was, as Governor Cox, as they went through the transition from Governor Herbert to Governor Cox, they had people come in and analyze every agency, not just DTS, but all agencies. And they put out a transition report. And in the transition report for DTS, one of the key recommendations was to create an enterprise products group. So this creating this group is partially I should say directly coming from that recommendation, but also I would say from my own perspective, as I've looked at the organization, I feel like this enterprise function needs additional attention and needs focus. It's an area that I think an organizational focus will really benefit. I think the organization is doing a good job with the things that we're putting in the enterprise services group. They're doing a good job. The IT directors are doing a good job working directly with the agencies. But when we have projects that go across all of the agencies, I think organizationally, it's been a real challenge for DTS to address those needs. And so I believe that this organization, this group of enterprise products will be able to really make a difference. And so this will have a PMO office under there. We'll have, if we're able to do an ERP rollout, that would fit here. If we can, any enterprise solution that goes across a whole bunch of agencies, we'll look to put that here. So UGRC will be here. If we can get funding to do an identity and access management that would go across multiple websites, that would go here. So this is where we'll put large enterprise projects that go across multiple agencies. Okay, so this is what the executive office will look like for now. They'll have CTO, CISO, PIO, Dan in the finance group with Dan as CFO leading that. And then we'll have a COO leading enterprise services. We'll have another new hire leading agency services, and we'll have John Angus leading enterprise products. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about ARPA requests. So the America Recovery Plan Act is something that has consumed a whole bunch of my time in the first 2 months that I've been here. We talked about when we started this process, when it's raining money, we should hold out a big bucket. And it's raining money right now. Here's the thing. The thing is, the federal government passed this act. I think at the federal level, the total came to 1.7 trillion. The state of Utah is going to get out of that, the state government that is, there's be other parts going to residents and to local towns and counties. But for the state government is expected to get about 1.5 billion. And so there's an opportunity here that we can get some of that funding. And it's the allowable uses for the funding are fairly narrow. They talk about infrastructure and specifically refer to water, sewer, and broadband. Broadband is specifically referring to retail, like household broadband. But there are other allowable uses for the money. In addition, that references, in addition to those infrastructure things, there's references to cybersecurity, there's reference to government services, and there's like a 150-page document that the federal government put out talking about what are the allowable use cases. So we've put in a number of requests. We put in a request for funding for an ERP system, and we did an RFI, and we had a vendor day and had some vendors come in and speak to us about their ERP solutions. We put in a proposal, and this was co-sponsored by the HR organization. We put in a proposal for HCM, and this would be a global or enterprise-wide HCM system that would be commercial off the shelf, and it would do functions like, I should have said on ERP. ERP will do things like would be core financials, could do budgeting, could do travel approvals, expense reporting, payroll, a number of different areas. And HCM would do things like performance management, training, performance reviews, onboarding, exiting, all those types of things would be in the HCM system. We put in a proposal for network improvements. Our network has been a little bit problematic in that we don't have as much bandwidth. We have, I think Kevin may jump in and correct me on the exact details, but largely what we have is we have pretty much a single 10 gig core. And by comparison, the UETN network has 9 100 gig cores. So their network is about 90 times more bandwidth than ours. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to improve the bandwidth of our network and put in some 100 gig cores, hopefully at least 2 or even 3 100 gig cores, which would be a significant increase in bandwidth there for us. For another proposal we put in was for cybersecurity to enhance and grow the cybersecurity function that we have. We have built something really good here in the state. But one of the problems we have in the state is that many of our cities and counties just are not where they need to be. They're exposed. We've had cities who have had to pay ransom to get out of ransomware attacks. We've had systems taken down, and so what we hope to be able to do is to hire some additional people and put some resources behind this so that we can do outreach out to cities and counties, and also be staffed so that when they have an issue, we can offer a hotline service that they can reach out to us and we can help them. Identity and access management, or IAM, is one that we did, and really this is about a citizen portal or building a website, a state website. And the problem we have today is if you go out and start looking at Utah, state of Utah websites, what you'll quickly find is that there is no one website. There's multiple websites, in fact, dozens of websites. And a lot of them are great. They're really terrific. And some of them are not so great and have not had the attention that they need. And one of the things, and this is something that Governor Cox it's a big thing on his list, and something that he talks to me about nearly every time we speak. And he has an idea that we really want to consolidate the state websites, have a more standard look and feel, more standard navigation. And we actually have in statute, as many of you are aware, a statute that we, DTS, are supposed to create a citizen portal by January 2025. So at the heart of these ideas, and by the way, I think our solution should be a mobile first solution, but whatever it is, citizen portal, state website, mobile solution, part of the heart of the solution needs to be an identity and access management. So we identify people up front, we have a rock solid multi-factor authentication, and then we need to do integration out to the various websites. We in DTS will never be the subject matter experts for everything that the agencies have in their websites. So they will continue to own their content. They'll continue to be the subject matter experts, but we want to come to a framework, and we want to solve this identity management problem so that people, when a citizen logs in, they can just see the cars they have registered, their taxes, their transcripts from state university. They can see their fishing license. They can see the parks and where they need to go, where they can go to catch some fish, and everything else, all the other agency services. And so we need to build the pass tokens. We need to be able to have a more unified look and feel. We need to be able to have unified navigation. We need to be able to offer these things. And I think the identity access management is a core piece of that. And finally, there's some tools that we purchased for the pandemic, and we'd like to try to extend those, and has to do with teleworking, has to do with the pandemic response. There's a number of tools we want there. Okay, hang in there. So we have the pandemic still going on, and I wanted to talk a little bit about things that you've heard recently. So first of all, in the state buildings now, masks are optional. I have masks here at my desk, but for the most part, we are not wearing masks in, walking around. I'm seeing most people are not wearing masks. Anybody who would like to wear a mask, it's welcomed, encouraged. And so if people who come into the office feel completely comfortable wearing a mask, it makes sense. It can stop spread of germs. It's good. If you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to. You're welcome to not wear a mask, but we should definitely wear masks if you feel uncomfortable without it. And we should all be, respectful and kind of everyone who chooses to wear masks. It's encouraged. It's great. With regard to telework, so everyone has gotten used to telework, I think, and there's pros and cons I've seen to telework. And, I've been teleworking before joining the state, and I work from home sometimes even after joining the state. But for the telework, basically we need to get agreements completed. There are telework agreements out there. If you don't know if you have one, or if you're confused about what to do, talk to your supervisor. And I guess, Dan Fry's org, I'm not sure exactly who the point person is at the moment, but they're taking the lead on coordinating, getting all of these completed. So, we expect that people will continue teleworking, continue working from home. That's fine. That's good. As it says here on the third bullet point, you are encouraged to come into the office at least occasionally. And so, what is the rule here? Well, I'm not laying down a super hard and fast rule. My expectation is that most people will continue teleworking, but we should follow the lead of the agencies you work with. So I'm hearing rumblings from a couple of agencies that they're basically not having their people telework. They want everybody back in the office. If you're working with that agency or an agency who's like that, well, go into the office as well. Several of the IT directors have mentioned that they want to do, have people come in around certain workflows. For example, they may want people to come in for a sprint planning and then, work from home remotely. To me, that makes tons of sense. So some people may choose to come in certain days of the week. They may come in, Monday, come into the office Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. They may be able to work from home Tuesdays and Fridays. So there's some flexibility here, but work with your supervisor on a plan. Make sure your telework agreement is in place. And I would just say that I do think, for the most part, we as an organization are more effective when people come in. And the reason I say that is particularly where there are new teams being formed or new people who have recently joined that need to be integrated into a team. I found that in those situations, it's much better. The hallway conversations, the casual conversations here and there are really helpful at incorporating people into a team and helping the team to gel and be cohesive as a team. So, I would encourage people to think about those things, but there is flexibility. And my expectation is most people will continue teleworking. I do want to say again, we have beautiful new office space here at TSOB for those who are based here. This is a great facility. It's been completely redone. Of course, there's still some construction going on, but this is Todd and Dan and the team and staff have done a terrific job with this facility. It's a beautiful office, beautiful place here. So, come in and enjoy this. Those are here. And then last about the pandemic, I just want to say a big thank you. I recognize that over the last year, many of you have worked some crazy hours. Many of you have done intense effort. Many of you have put up with annoyances or inconveniences as you've had to work from home, or there's heroic effort done to help not just DTS, but help people throughout state government to work from home. So a huge thank you for all the heroic efforts and the extraordinary efforts that have been done. I really appreciate that. Last, before we go to Q&A, I want to talk about the organizational merge into the Department of Government Operations. So This is a done deal from a decision point of view. I mean, the legislature passed it, the governor signed it. This comes from Governor Cox, and he mentioned at the ceremonial signing of the bill that he looked around and he saw multiple agencies who were focused on serving other agencies and making government better. And he and his team felt like it made a lot of sense to consolidate those into a single agency. And so the Department of Government Operations was born. And we, DTS, will be moving from a standalone department to a division within the Department of Government Operations. Okay, so we're going from department to division. That's a fact. There will be some titles will change. So I will no longer be the executive director, Department of Technology Services. I'll have some other title. I'll be a deputy director in Department of Government Operations, and then there will be division titles rather than departmental titles. So there will be some titles change, but I want to emphasize that there will be no reduction in salaries or in salary bands. So there is no demotion here. There will be a review later this calendar year to look at our salary bands within the Department of Technology Services, which will then become the Division of Technology Services in the Department of Government Operations. And those, my expectation is that when HR takes a look at the salary bands within DTS, I expect those salary bands to go up. We have a situation here in Utah. We're blessed with a very strong and competitive technology sector, the Silicon Slopes, if you will. And that's great. It's great for the state. It's great for our economy. Lots of good jobs out there. And I think what we're finding is there's also a lot of competition for technical resources. And so my expectation is that when they do an unbiased look at the salary bands, I expect those salary bands to go up. There will be a few small functions will be merged in with other groups in DAS and DHRM. But no, there won't be any major organizational changes. So DTS is over 700 folks today, likely, a single digit number of folks, less than 10, will be impacted by functions that will be merging into central things. So it's not, for the vast majority of people in DTS, they won't notice much of a change, I don't think. There will be no layoffs. There will be, we have some alarm going off here. Steph, please tell me it's a test.
I hope it is. I'll find out.
Okay, while you're checking, I'm going to continue until we find out. We have to stand up and walk out. There have been a number of tests. So in general, I support when the alarm goes off, we walk out the door. But since there's new construction, I think it's probably a test. So I'll just continue. We're not planning any layoffs as part of this organizational merge, and we will continue to provide the same services that we provide now. So for the vast majority of people, it's business as usual, but there are a couple things I really want to mention. That is, DAS and DHRM are family now, and we need to think more united. We need to see them as, part of our same agency. We should think of them as family, in the sense that we're all becoming one unified Department of Government Ops. And for example, we probably will do some things in a unified fashion, like we're trying to work out a unified performance management process. Right now, DTS, DHRM, and DAS all have completely different performance management norms and expectations and processes. And we're going to try to get on the same page so we do that all as unified. So think united. And then finally, I've been working with Jenny. Jenny Reese will be the executive director of the Department of Government Operations. I'll be reporting to her. In fact, I consider myself as reporting to her now. I've been working with her from day one since I joined, and she's great. I think she's going to add tremendous value for our team, and she's very well connected, and I think she's been really great to work with. I also wanted to call out Marilee Richens and Ken Hansen and John Barand. They have been terrific. I've been meeting with them, all four of these people, nearly daily since I joined 2 months ago, and they have been really terrific to work with. So I'm enthusiastic and excited about this organizational merge. I hope, I hope that all of you are as well. Okay, that's it for my prepared slides. I'm ready for Q&A, I guess.
Yeah. So we are good. It is a construction issue, so the fire alarm is
Okay, terrific. So
right.
hopefully, I don't know if the buzzing here in the building is coming over the Zoom call too loudly, but let's go ahead with Q&A. It's not that loud for me. I can keep going.
Okay. We have just a few here. Oh, good. It just ended. So what do the CTO and PIO do? I think I can kind of speak to what the PIO does. So
Go ahead, Steph.
I am the PIO and I do communications for the department. So I do all the internal communications. I help with the flow of information to employees, important information that you all need. And then I also do external communications. So I talk to the media, I talk to stakeholders, I talk to the legislature, kind of do reports, any public reports, any public information that needs to go out to people. Do you want to talk about what the CTO does, Alan?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So Dave and his team have been extraordinarily helpful to me as these first couple of months. So they evaluate technologies very broadly and provide the technical expertise, helping to be give guidance on technical architecture and technical solutions. They also they have taken on the role of, they've had a significant leadership in the development of Utah.gov and building the state website. They've had tremendous leadership in working with external groups like the Digital Government Summit coming up, and they have played key roles in things like helping to like working with Capgemini on the data center move. They're involved in many things throughout the organization, but technical leadership and guidance is, I think, the core function. And in particular with our CTO, Dave, we're blessed because he has been with us a long time, and he has been enormously helpful in helping me to understand the historical context of what happened over the years and how DTS became what it is today. And so I'm personally very grateful to him and his wise guidance and counsel that he's given to me. And Dave, if you're on, you're welcome to jump on and give any more details if you like. Otherwise, Steph, let's go to the next question.
Okay. When Alan talked about opportunities around data use, are we interested in both DTS operational data and agency business data?
Yes, both. So I really feel like, we need a more consolidated data warehouse solution. I feel like agencies would benefit greatly from that. There are likely places where, of course, the data always has to be protected, and so people can only see what they're supposed to see. And I don't have the entire solution mapped out in my mind yet, but what I see is an opportunity in many of our solutions. The BI piece or the data warehousing piece is pretty weak, and I think we could do a lot better bringing some of that data in. And I know we're using Cognos. We have a number of tools already, but I think there's a real opportunity to add value with the better use of our data. So it'd be both agencies and DTS.
Great. Thanks. You were talking about the ERP solution with the ARPA funding requests. So will this new ERP system replace our current ServiceNow solution?
Well, I meant to give a little more detail. Maybe I kind of rushed on that slide. So one of the things about the ARPA funds is that even today, this very day, there is a special session of the legislature going on to talk about our ARPA funds, not just our request, but to talk about ARPA funds and to decide how to spend them. And it looks like what's going to happen is that out of the 1.5 billion, they're not going to spend it all at once in this special session. It looks like they're going to spend maybe a third of it, or allocate maybe a third of it, and keep the rest The rest they will allocate in the January session coming up, or even in the following year session, in a year from now in January. And so it's looking right now like in this initial phase, at least, probably the most likely ones that we have to get funded are network and cybersecurity. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We could have. I don't think, I haven't given up on getting money for the enterprise applications like ERP and HCM, but as we've gone out and talked to senators and legislators and worked with the governor's budget office and the legislative budget office, we're kind of getting a little bit of feel that it's a tougher sell. It's a tougher sell for the enterprise software solutions to be used for ARPA money. Now, I would say people are not saying we don't think this is a good idea. People are saying we think this is a great idea. We think we should do this. We just think we need to probably fund it in a different way and not with ARPA funds, because it may not fit perfectly under the allowable use of funds. But let's see what the legislature comes up with today. I'm optimistic that we'll get some funds. And as to the specific question of would ERP replace ServiceNow, probably parts of it. I think what we were really focused on was core financials. So what is today FiNet running in CGI, and we'd be focusing on more finance oriented stuff. Our payroll system is not good. And so we'd like to update that. So that would likely be part of HCM. Payroll kind of falls between HCM and ERP, but think of it as part of the ERP solution. And so if we can get funding, we would likely invest. And there probably would be some things in ServiceNow that might be moved into that. But I think if we don't get a big chunk of money to do ERP, more likely what we will do, what we plan to do is, there was already some funding received by the finance team in DAS to upgrade CGI. So we'll get started on that project. And CGI is itself an ERP solution, but maybe not the greatest ERP solution on the market. But what we would do is we would upgrade the finance solution to the newer version of CGI, and then we would probably look to try to find budget to upgrade payroll and HCM.
Great. Okay, now we have a lot of salary questions. So do you expect pay for existing employees to go up with the salary bounds?
I hope so. So there's two parts there. I'll stop sharing so I can also see the chat better myself. Okay. My hope is that my desire is that people in DTS feel good about their pay, in the sense that it's equitable, it's fair, they feel fairly compensated. I think not just in DTS, but when I first joined, one of the first things we did in the first few weeks after I joined was we did a listening tour. And Jenny had set these up, and Jenny, Marilee, John Barand, Ken Hansen, and myself had meetings with the heads of every agency, every single one. And we met the executive directors, and it was interesting on the listening tour, it came up over and over that the agencies are upset about salaries. So, I've learned that the state, in terms of cash compensation, is typically not the highest.
Where are you going? I thought we were going to the VA.
John?
Okay.
We'll mute John.
I got it.
So I thought you were saying, where am I going with this?
I know.
I am so sorry. I am driving my parents up to the VA and my dad keeps yelling. I apologize.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Anyway, where was I? I was saying that typically the state is known for really good benefits, and not really known for paying top dollar on salary, but I within that context, and I do hope that we can find opportunities to pay people fairly and reasonably competitively with the market out there. And yeah, so that likely means that if salary bands go up, we need to find funding and bump people up as well.
Great. Okay, it has been very challenging to get everything done without overtime. What is the timeline that overtime will be approved, and what does that look like moving forward?
So there will be overtime. I'm going to send out an email with some details about overtime. So I'll just mention to everyone right now, I want to say that it came to my attention that there was at least a person, or maybe multiple people, a few people, who felt like they had been asked not to put in overtime. And let me just say categorically, I don't want that to happen ever. Everybody needs to put in their time as worked, and they should never be asked to not enter time fairly and accurately. So if that happens, I would ask anybody that happens with to bring it to the attention of HR or to myself directly. And I'll send out an email with more details on that. In general, we have to work through a process with overtime. So because it does impact budgets and so on. So in general, I'm just going to say we're going to have to work with the supervisors for timeline, and for the supervisors, they can take it up with Dan Fry and with myself.
Great.
Okay,
we're running out of time, but we have a few more questions, so let's go through these quickly. Salary increases have been based on a percentage increase after X amount of years. Will that change and be incentivized?
I do want to change the way we do it. I want salary increases to be based, I want them to be equitable. So I want people who are in similar roles, do a similar performance, to be paid similar amounts, and that takes into account experience, performance, etc. I feel strongly about tying pay to performance, so I want to take a more systematic approach to performance management and raises, and I want it to. I'm going to put in place processes to make sure that when we do have budget to do raises, that it'll be tied to performance, and it'll involve a more systematic review of team members, and not I want to move away from one-off salaries as much as possible, one-off salary increases or one-off salary changes as much as possible. Did that answer the question, Steph?
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of helps with some of these other questions as well. Will we remain at will in our division?
Yes. Those at will remain at will. There are a few people in our division who are not currently at will, and we'll see about that. I can tell you that the trend is to move more people to at-will status. So those who are already at-will status will not be moving away from at-will. More likely, those who are not at-will will be given an opportunity to move to at-will. And the reason I say opportunity is because likely there would be an incentive granted, like there would be some incentive, and people would have the option to move to at-will if they choose to take advantage of the incentive. That's what I see happening as we move. So more information will be coming out from Jenny on that.
Okay, we have a few more questions. Do you want to continue on, or should we?
Let's see, we are at the top of the hour. I think maybe we should wrap up, but hey, we'll be doing this again. So there'll be more opportunities to ask questions, anything we've covered here about the organization or about the projects we're doing. And let me just say to wrap up that I'm delighted to be here. I haven't met nearly as many of you as I would like to have met by now. I intend to meet more of you, and I think as we start coming back to the buildings a little bit more, it'll give me more opportunity to meet people in person, and I'll try to come to places where you work and to meet you and get to know you better. So I look forward to doing that. The other thing I'll mention is that I plan to set some office hours which will be some time dedicated that anyone in the entire organization can get a few minutes with me on my calendar. So, I'll send out an email about that in the next week or so. So there'll be some time you can set up a meeting, and you can come in, introduce yourself, let me know what you're working on or any concerns you have, and we can talk about those. Okay.
Great. Okay, thank you, everyone. If we didn't get to your question, feel free to send it to me individually, and we will get a response to you. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.